The sooner we talk about this, the sooner we can just get over it.
There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of a War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
I'm doing as good as I can be. I thought the weekend would help me get over it, but I'm still fuming.
Yep. Oh, man. Another week, another loss, another supposed should have won. It's a little frustrating after that game, but at this point, I'm kind of at the point now, and it's Monday after the game, and I've had a lot of time to digest that game, and I'm kind of like, well, this is what this team is, and I'm not expecting anything less at this point, or more, should I say.
Man, it's so frustrating to go back and look at everything. I was looking at the stats before the game, and I got them pulled. Well, after the game, I got them pulled up here. I mean, on paper, Auburn should have won this game. There's only one glaring difference, and that is the pick six. Everything else, Auburn led in literally everything other than turnovers. It's so hard to look at when there's two things in my mind that should have been done differently. And Hugh Freeze even addressed all this in his pregame or his postgame presser and today's presser. And he shouldn't have ran the Wildcat with Sam Jackson two times in the goal line. He said he should have handed it off to Jarquez at least one of the times. And
every time.
Yes, especially when you're on the goal line. And then the pick six, going back and watching that play, it was RPO. He had two passing options and a run option. He chose the wrong pass option. If you look at the top of the screen when you go and watch the replay, you'll see the wide receiver is wide open in the bubble, and he had a first down plus. It's just the wrong read at the wrong friggin' time. And even Hugh Freeze says he wishes he could go back and control the game and just run it and then punt it. I mean, it's just – It was, after the Luke Deal touchdown, if you remember, I texted in our group chat saying this episode was going to be so much fun. This was hands friggin' down Auburn's best all-around game of the friggin' season. And one terrible mistake cost us the game.
Now, see, here's the thing. It wasn't just one mistake because the defense made a mistake as well. It's something they've done all season long. Is they lost a man deep. They've done it all season long. And so it's not just the interception, okay? Yes, the pick six was in a crucial time in the game. Yes, it's easy to point at that and say, we lost the game because of that pick six. But if our defense plays like they were playing the whole game and keeping receivers in front of them and paying attention to the receivers they're supposed to be covering, the pick six is inconsequential. So those two plays are huge. If you want to point at two plays from a defensive standpoint, or from a mistake standpoint, should I say? Yeah, mistake standpoint. Those are the two big ones. But like you said, Jarquez Hunter down there. Let him run the freaking Wildcat.
He was doing what he wanted on the ground.
If they had put Jarquez Hunter back there and Jarquez Hunter ran the Wildcat and that happened every time against him, I think as Auburn fans, we can kind of live with that. We haven't seen Sam Jackson at quarterback all season long. And I understand gamemanship and giving them something that they haven't seen in practice or in film. I get that. But Jarquez was unstoppable. And so was Damari Alston as well. They were unstoppable 90% of the time. Now, there were some tackles in the backfield and stuff like that. But I think the other thing is as soon as Xavier Miller got hurt, it seemed like we saw the old Payton Thorne. He started really focusing on that right side, and he just kept wanting to look that way because he kept getting pressured from that side. And I don't know who was – I haven't gone back to see who played for Xavier once he got hurt, but Payton Thorne clearly does not trust that guy.
It didn't look like it. He definitely looked like he was flustered a lot more later in the game than he was earlier because, again, he had one hell of a game, almost 300 passing yards. Actually, hold on. 338 passing yards.
Yeah.
And 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's the Payton Thorne that we thought we were getting from Michigan State. But golly, dude.
And
You're right.
here's
That third down deep throw that we gave up, we didn't give up the touchdown down there, which was awesome. Our red zone defense has been lights out all season long. Kudos to the defensive game plan. I thought the game plan all around was actually really good, except for the late game management. Because, I mean, hindsight's 2020. You can't really do anything about it now, but you got to stop giving up those deep balls on third down. You just have to. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, and not just that, but man, again, you look at it and see. Here's the thing: is we had two different versions of goal line on offense. We had the one where Hugh Freeze goes for it on fourth down at the goal line, and you're like, he missed it. We didn't get it. Take the freaking points. But later on in the game, when he did it, and they did it on the sideline. And he was like, well, yeah, you really kind of want to take the points right here, especially after what happened last time. But then he goes, but we're going for it. It worked. And so we're all happy about it. But he almost made the same. Now the difference is he gave the ball to Jarquez. You know?
Yeah.
Was it Jarquez that scored that touchdown? I believe so. Right?
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember. But
no, we only had passing touchdowns.
Okay. All right. Well, but we got it. So we converted it. And so no one's giving him a hard time for it. But he made the same decision on both ends. And again, with how much we were gashing them on the run game, we should have been running it a lot more. And me and you talked about this. First off, coming out of halftime, I texted you and I was like, there's a lot of game left, and I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. And at no point did I think we're getting out of this game without turning the ball over. But I also didn't think it was going to be a pick six. So there's that. But the big thing is I texted you and I questioned, is there a run only option? Is there a run only option for the play callers? Or are they all RPOs?
That's a good question. I mean, it does seem like the quarterback has the option to pull it back down, take off with it, and pass.
Every run.
It's just crazy to think, especially when Jarquez Hunter was just going crazy all game long. He was averaging 5.7 yards a rush. You just hand that dude the rock until he's stopped, especially against that kind of defense, because Oklahoma's defense did do pretty good against the run. We finished the game with like 3.8 yards a carry, which is under what you want, but you still outgained them on the ground the whole game. I mean, you stick with what you're really good at, and that's running the damn ball. That's just what it is, especially in those late game situations. First off, the pick six sucked, but Cam Coleman is fast, dude. He came from the top of the field down to the bottom of the field and chased that dude down. Yes, he did. Again, it was a linebacker that ran it back, not a safety, but still, he chased that dude down and almost stopped him at the goal line, which was, I would have loved if he did, but the momentum carried him into the end zone. It's just one of those things you can't really do anything about in hindsight.
Yeah, but the thing is like we saw two possessions before the pick six. We saw Hugh Freeze yelling at Payton Thorne on the sideline, saying, and you could read his mouth. He's like, twice you threw the ball. Run. Why didn't you hand it off? He was telling him to hand it off. Why would you put yourself in that position, in that critical of a spot on the field? Call run plays. Stop with the RPOs in those situations. Take the decision out of Payton Thorne's hands in critical times in the game, because he doesn't have it here in the game. Maybe in practice he looks like a world beater and he makes the right decisions, but he wants to be the hero so bad that's what he was doing. He wanted to go for it. He wanted to throw it. He throws that ball away. It's a completely different game. Oscar Chapman goes out there, hadn't had a great game, Oscar Chapman, and he's made some questionable decisions himself this year. But historically, you put in Oscar Chapman's hands, he usually is going to pin the offense deep, okay? And then they got to drive the field, and I trust our defense a lot more than I trust Payton Thorne.
Yes.
And you know what? The funny thing is I was Payton Thorne had an amazing game. Outside the pick six, he had an amazing game. Now He got lucky because there should have been 2 other interceptions in that game.
Yes.
2 other interceptions
absolutely.
got dropped. Okay, so he got lucky, but sometimes you gotta have luck on your side, and he had a very good game up to that point. But I was prepared to come into this episode if we had won and tell everybody Payton Thorne is still who we think he is. There is no difference in who Payton Thorne is. I don't care how good he looks. He has to string together 5 games before I sit there and say, hey, this is a different quarterback, because he's exactly who we thought he was.
Before the interception, I actually thought that Payton Thorne, he corrected some of the mistakes he was making in the Cal game and before. And, he had a really good game. And even if he didn't want to play hero ball at the end, he would have come out of that game the hero if we had won, because he threw 3 freaking touchdowns to wide open guys and put the ball in the correct places. Like you said, he did have 1 or 2 other interceptions dropped by the defense, which is awesome. It's just the one that was caught buried us. But either way, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He wants to play hero too much and so badly that he puts the team in jeopardy. And that's not what you want. I still do believe, I've been saying it on social media all day today, that I still believe that Payton Thorne, after this game, can still get us bowl eligible. Moving forward, I think Payton Thorne is going to be our best option at quarterback, because he has shown the most flashes to do more with what he's got. I don't think he's going to, do anything special for Auburn. I don't even think he's going to get drafted. He's going to be in the XFL or the CFL, but
I disagree with you there. I disagree with you there. I've seen everything I need to see from Payton Thorne. I said it 2 episodes ago. I mean it. I don't need to see any more Payton Thorne, because the thing is the truth is, the reason why he makes those bad throws and those obvious bad throws, those interceptions, is because he gets predetermined. He has so much faith in his pre-snap read, and he's wrong a lot of the times, but he has so much faith in that pre-snap read that he is predetermined, I'm going here with the ball. That's the reason why he kept missing the out person on the left-hand side of the field, is because he wanted to go inside. He just looks at the coverage and says, I'm no matter what, I'm going here. And sometimes the defense just doesn't give you that. Now, say what you will about Hank Brown. That dude has showed me several times. I see his head going left to right or right to left. He goes through his progressions. Now, he made mistakes in that Arkansas game. I don't think he's going to be perfect. He may not be the best chance that we have to win this year. Maybe. I think he gives us a good chance to, but maybe he's not. Maybe it is Payton Thorne. But I sure shit don't want to be going through this again next year. And right now, we don't have a quarterback on this roster that I know anything about, other than the little bit I know about Hank Brown. I said it last week and I say it this week. I can live with a freshman making some mistakes.
Yes.
I can't live with a 4th-year senior or a 5th-year senior, whatever the hell he is. That Payton Thorne. I almost dropped the F-bomb here, people. This guy gets me so fired up. And now I will tell you, I will give Payton Thorne his credit here. I have said it since the offseason, this whole time. I want to see that fire. I want to see him just getting on people. I want to see him fired up. And guess what? We did see it. He was yelling at some of the wide receivers. He was doing this. Like, look. He was telling them.
On that Cam Coleman pass where he was wide open.
Because there were times where he made the right throw, but the wide receiver wasn't on the same page as him. So I'm being critical of him. But I saw a little bit of Payton Thorne that I wanted to see all season long. And so hopefully with him being the starter, Hugh Freeze is going to start him. He's not going to the backup. He's not going to any other quarterback.
No, especially in the Georgia game.
Thorne. Yeah. It's going to be Thorne, but it really should be. Go back and watch the War Report. Free plug for them, because they had an amazing conversation to where they should right now at this point give the ball to Hank Brown, because you go into that Georgia game, it's not going to be pretty. I don't care what quarterback's back there. It's not going to be pretty. You give Hank Brown this opportunity, and then guess what? After the Georgia game, we got a bye week. So then you get 2 weeks to sit there and say, hey, in the Georgia game, these are the mistakes you made. This is what we were looking at. This is what you need to correct. And they get 2 weeks to correct that. I at this level of football, I just have a hard time believing in the thought process of not wanting to ruin a kid. I don't think we're at that point. And so I want to throw him to the wolves, and I want to see what he's made of. I wanted to see him in the Arkansas game. I wanted to see him at least for the third quarter, but I didn't get that, and none of us did. But all in all, this game is frustrating. It felt like we were right there. We had them. I've said this twice now. We had them, and we let them off the hook. We knew what they were.
It's true.
We let them off the hook. Now
we had them.
Now we were so close to beating a Oklahoma team that started a freshman for the first time on the road. And they were missing their wide receiver core so bad that they had a DB out there playing wide receiver. Okay. Their offensive line was on their 14th. Yes, you hear me that right. Their 14th iteration of their offensive line. This is a piss poor team right now on offense, and we still didn't beat them.
Well, it's because the offense didn't win in the game.
I'm concerned. They didn't. I agree. They didn't. But I'm still concerned about this coaching staff. They're starting to I'm not calling for Hugh Freeze to get fired. I'm not calling for anybody to get fired right now. I'm happy with the recruiting job, but at some point you got to start teaching fundamentals. This team, we are who we're putting on film. And bad teams find ways to lose games. And right now, this team is finding it, whether that be coaching, whether that not be decision-making, whether that be turnovers. It's everything combined. And I think it starts with the coaching staff. How are we not focused on fundamentals right now at this point and being able to play a clean game?
I agree. I mean, at some point you do have to look at the coaching decisions. You got to look at your coaching schemes. You got to look at your personnel. You got to look at all that at some point. I'm with you. I don't think it's time to pull the plug at all on Hugh Freeze. I mean, it's going to, he even said it'll probably take 2 to 3 years for this team to get back on track. And
but we did have take a step so back much this talent.
Season. We do have so much talent, but it's young talent. And a lot of them just aren't ready for the big leagues like the others are. One guy that I think is ready for the big leagues because he friggin' balled out all game, DeMarcus Riddick. Put that boy on the friggin' field. Yeah. He is so much faster than I thought he was going to be.
He was like a missile shot. He was a heat-seeking missile out there. He hurt our own players because he was so crazy out there.
He is good. He is
Jaron
freaking
Thompson
good. I mean,
got hurt because he was flying around. Yeah, it's crazy.
You put a mobile quarterback on the field, they better be praying that they don't run into Marcus Riddick. That's all I got to say, because every time what's his face for Oklahoma took off running, DeMarcus was right there to meet him 2-3 yards down the field.
Yep. I don't want to spend.
I want to see more of the young guys from here on out for the rest of the season, since it is for the most part a lost season. I want to see more of the young guys, put more of the young guys in so they're ready for next year, the year that everyone has been waiting for. Granted, we were all waiting for 2024, but I'm ready for 2025 at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is to make a bowl game, it's an uphill battle. I don't see the wins. I don't see it. I don't see the wins. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we make a bowl game. I hope we surprise some people and actually get better as the season goes on, which we should, because of how young the stars are. But at this point, I agree. I want to see the young players, and that goes to why I was saying we need to see what we have in Hank Brown. We need to see if he can compete for the quarterback position next year. Yeah, bring in a transfer. It's going to be. There's just so many mistakes that this coaching staff has made. There's so many mistakes that they have made personnel-wise during the season, as well as personnel-wise in the offseason when they decided not to get a transfer quarterback. Hugh Freeze is dying on that Payton Thorne hill, and I guarantee you, if he could go back, he would do it differently now. But yeah, play the young players. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we're running up against it, and I know we want to get out of here real quick, but there's two players on the defense side that have let me down the most this year. The
Jaron
first
Thompson
one
is one of them.
Nope. The first one is Keontae Scott. He looks lost out there.
Yes.
He's hurt his draft stock. Okay? Keontae Scott does not look like half the player he was last year. The only time we're calling Keontae Scott's name is when he's making mistakes. And last year,
It's true.
yes, that was a deep defensive back team last year. There was a lot of game time that they had played together, and they were very cohesive. And Keontae Scott was just a wrecking ball. But he has let me down so much. And whether you think it's fair or not, these kids are getting paid. Yes, they're kids. Yes, they're younger than me. But at this level of football, there's an expectation, and Keontae Scott is not living up to that. The second
Let me guess
person,
your second one. Let me guess them.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Eugene Asante.
Eugene Asante. What is going on? Where is he? Now, he's not being called out like Keontae Scott. He's not making mistakes like
he's
Keontae
not making
Scott.
those mistakes. He's just not in anyone's mouths in the good way like he was last year after the Cal game. I understand he's been quiet all season. That's not what you want from your senior leader. Yeah. He's being vocal in the locker room and on the practice field. I see those reports, but I mean he had a big hit or two on Saturday, which was awesome to see. But at the same time, it's like, bro, where's number 9 at? Where's he at?
And to be fair, usually on the defensive side of things, if you're not constantly rushing the quarterback, if we're not calling your name, if they're not saying your name on TV, you're probably doing a good job. And so we're not quite as fair as we probably should be with.
We just want to hear his name in a good way more.
Yeah.
Again,
everyone's ready for him.
Anything wrong? He's just not being as loud as he was last year. That's all.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, on that big bombshell, Josh, let's tell the people where they can get our content right now.
You can find us on the internet. I'm just kidding. You find us on YouTube, War Eagle Weekly, TikTok, War Eagle Weekly, and on X, War Eagle Weekly. War Eagle Weekly on all the socials. Come hang out. We upload a lot.
Yes. And hey, guys, don't forget, we are now, finally, after several months, we are now on your Spotify. We are on Apple Podcast. We are on iHeartRadio. I forgot all about that as well. We should have plugged this at the very beginning. But we are on all of the audio-only podcast platforms out there. Go search for a War Eagle Weekly. Get your content any way you can. Subscribe. Share this video with your buddy. We love the engagement. Comment, like the video, all this stuff. You guys, you're on YouTube. You guys are watching.
You know the drill.
You know what's going on here. Well, but with that, Josh, War Eagle.
War Eagle.